Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. We're so glad you're here. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVI Charter School and iLEAD Schools. We are a network of charter schools. Remember, when I say charter, you think free. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school, a burgeoning home study program called iLEAD Exploration. Visit us at iLEADschools.org for information on our classroom-based schools, our virtual schools, whatever it is that your child needs. We've got a school that will meet those needs. So yeah, we keep our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation as well. But like the show says, we also like to keep our eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the Valley. And you know, we try to bring a little smile to your face, because if you're not giggling while you're doing it, then either you're doing it wrong or you're not doing the right thing. So yeah, settle in with us, pour that extra cup of coffee, relax. Let's slide into this Friday. Hey, have you poked your head out the window yet? It's it's fall out there for a Friday morning. It's a little misty and a little overcast and just fall peeking in on us here on a late September morning. So you know, Neil Diamond had something to say about that a while back. But anyways, it is still a Friday. That is the good news, and you are on with Eye on the Valley. There's more good news. So hey, the day is just looking up. There's sunshine peeking through all over the place. So how you doing? I mean, like I said, it's Friday, so how bad could it be? And then add on top of the Friday that, well, you're in Southern California. Like, you know, you poke your head out the window, you might not know it, but this is still Southern California. You also are in awesome town. You know, just like the Lego guys said, everything is awesome. It's going to be great. The weekend's going to be amazing. You know, we'll talk about what's going on this weekend a little bit later in the show. And I know some of you might be not feeling completely awesome out there, even though it is Friday and you live in Southern California. This gloom might be getting you down, and that happens. But remember, awesome is not a condition. It's an attitude, right? So if you're not feeling awesome, you can decide to just be awesome. It really is a choice. It really is. I believe that. I know, Matt. It's just the show intro, not a motivational speech. I get it, but I really do believe in this stuff. So come on, get on board. And if you're not on board, hang around with us for a little while, because not only is awesome a decision, awesome is also contagious. So hang around with us for a little bit. Engineer Andrew and I are pretty awesome, and we'll get you there if you're not feeling it. If you are feeling it, hey, contact somebody else and get them feeling you're awesome. And yeah, stick with us for the next couple of hours, because I promise, if you do, your life will be just a little bit more awesome because you did. Because we've got a great show for you today. In just a minute, you'll meet Cindy Williams from iLEADonline. Cindy's been with us for a while now and is part of a really dynamic team at iLEADonline. That is our fully accredited, completely free TK through 12th grade online public charter school. Man, that's a lot of adjectives, but each one of them is all very true. And we'll talk to Cindy here in just a minute. And in hour number 2, we're going to meet Jay Wagner. Have you heard about Jay? He's been in the news a lot lately. You may have seen him. He is the new president and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation. Not only was he just named to that position, taking over after Holly Schroeder, but they just held their seminal annual event for 2023, the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Outlook, and they just won a couple of awards, some really... It's kind of a big deal, some international awards. So if you are even slightly involved or concerned about the economic development of our valley, you won't want to miss that. And then another thing you're not going to want to miss, yep, Big T is back. I know he moved out of town, but he swings by every Friday morning. He will be here at the end of the show with some fun, some frivolity, some trivia. So like I said, we've got a great show for you today. Let's go ahead and get it started. My first guest this morning is lead academic coach with iLEADonline Charter School. Cindy Williams was born and raised in Southern California. She started out with the iLEAD organization as a parent, but quickly transitioned into becoming a part of the team. She's enjoyed supporting our staff and learners in multiple positions over the years and has a passion for supporting the social emotional well-being of our learners. She has extensive training in love and logic, restorative practices, and 7 habits, and hopes that through training others, she can continue to grow the iLEAD philosophy. When she's not working, she enjoys staying active, reading, cleaning. Yeah, I don't get it either. And then spending as much time with her husband and 3 kids as she can. Cindy, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Hi, good morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you this morning, Cindy?
Good. I have to tell you, as much as I love the sunshine, I can appreciate a gloomy day every now and then.
You know what? When you're dealing with triple digits, a little bit of gloom is a welcome a welcome relief. You're absolutely right. Cindy, is this right? I think it is, but it just doesn't make sense to me. As long as you've been with us and as many roles as you've filled, as dynamic as you've been, as amazing of a team player as you've been for our organization, Cindy, is this the first time we've had you on Eye on the Valley?
Yes, it is.
Crazy.
This is a little out of my comfort zone.
That's okay. We'll pick you up.
I volunteered. I said I would do it.
There you go. And yes. It is about time, let me say, because like I said, you've done quite a bit for us. So let's go ahead and get started. You did start in our organization as a parent. Can you tell us how you found iLEAD for your kids, and then how you went from parent to team member?
Yeah. So originally, to be honest, I had actually heard about SCVI, but it's a little bit far for me for a drive. Did I said SCVI, correct?
I
heard about SCVI. What really pushed me to kind of look at other schools, and I had even I have 3 kids, like you had said. My oldest had even homeschooled in the beginning, but then I, sent my kids to school. When my oldest was in 5th grade, so I had a 5th grader, a 4th grader, and a kindergartner. Okay. I started to kind of question, do I want to send him to the junior high schools around me?
I see.
And I kind of wanted to see, what are the different options? And I had been told about iLEAD Lancaster. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go check it out. And my husband and I and our kids, we did a tour. And I believe this is my 10th year with iLEAD. But so this is a while ago. This is before the iLEAD Lancaster campus had been renovated and before it looks the way it does right now. But we did a tour. And I'd say the one thing that stood out to my husband and I was when you go to the different classes, when you're doing your tour, it's not really the adults that are talking to you, it's the kids, like the learners, and them being able to welcome you, to speak, answer your questions, and that really intrigued me. But so we were very interested. We put our kids in there the next year. It was the summer before they were starting, and we were volunteering, we're helping because, the campus was being redone. And I had met Lynn Boop, who was the director of iLEAD Lancaster at the time. And I just asked her, because this was the first year my youngest, she was going to be in 1st grade, so she was going to be in school all day.
Sure.
So what am I going to do? I was always volunteering in classrooms when I could and things like that. And I thought, well, you know what? Let me just see if they need any help as an employee. So I asked. She told me to apply. They called me in for an interview, and I started right along with my kids.
How awesome.
My 1st year.
So you send your kids to school, you're volunteering, you're on campus enough, you may as well get paid for it, right? What a good decision.
Exactly. Yep.
And so you moved around. I believe you actually held several different roles at iLEAD Lancaster. You mentioned their beautiful campus that was renovated. Yeah, it's hard to believe, about a decade ago. And for those of you listening, if you've never visited the iLEAD Lancaster campus, it is incredibly innovative, built around the philosophies of David Thornburg and a book called From the Campfire to the Holodeck. It's amazing how the campus really facilitates teaching and learning. But Cindy, you worked for iLEAD Lancaster, and then you transferred to iLEADonline. So what precipitated that, and then what roles have you held at iLEADonline? Because you've held more than one role there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I kind of seem to like this. The director at Lancaster, when I worked there towards the end, she joked that my job was duties as assigned, and I feel like I've kind of embraced that at iLEADonline also. But what kind of pushed me towards iLEADonline as my older two got into high school. I kind of just felt like it's hard. Like high school sports are happening right when school gets out, and then you miss everything. And I'm working, and I just felt like that guilt and also I'd heard like these great things in iLEAD. I knew iLEADonline was growing, and so at first I was working for iLEAD Lancaster, and then a little bit part-time, like barely part-time with iLEADonline, getting to know it and just working with them a little bit. And then the fall of 2020, I believe, is when I transferred full-time to iLEADonline and started working with them.
Okay, and then what different roles have you held with them?
So I started, when I transitioned to iLEADonline, I started as an academic coach, and also just helping in the office where needed. Like if any, the office needed help with anything, I would jump in and help them. And from there, since then, I've transitioned to an academic coach lead. I also currently work with all of our EL learners and do the testing with them. I also help with our auditing when we get audited through the state of California, which we might talk about later. And just kind of really wherever is needed, to be honest. Hey, can you help and jump in here or there? I help with a lot of our compliance, making sure we're staying in compliance for our audit throughout the year.
So that's interesting. Let's go ahead. Well, I'll tell you what, let's put that in our back pocket. We'll talk about compliance and auditing because that is an important kind of myth busting sort of thing out there. But you talked about your role as academic coach, and I think that's something really important for families to understand. One of the things, because I've become quite familiar with a lot of different online platforms out there, and they can be really dynamic, really valuable, really useful for students in a lot of different scenarios. But the biggest concern that I always had about online learning is that there's no like real human out there to support students when they need, remediation or acceleration or customization or to maybe explain things a different way. At iLEADonline, y'all don't just provide a human, y'all double and triple down. So talk to me about all the different support that learners get at iLEADonline, the different interactions that they have with our educators, the difference between a facilitator, a coach. So can you kind of hash that out in about a minute or two?
Sure. Quickly, without taking too long on this subject. So our lower school, which is the K through 8, it's run a little bit different than our high school or upper school.
Sure.
But just really quickly, like K through 8, especially K through 6, you have one facilitator who is basically your facilitator, which is your teacher, and also your academic coach in one.
Okay.
So they kind of handle everything. In our 7th and 8th, we have 3 facilitators that cover the 4 main subjects and also act as your academic coach also. But in high school, it's different. High school is a little more tricky. And in high school, you're coming in, whether it's in 9th grade or a different, year, and you come in and you kind of need that go-to person, and that's what your academic coach is. That's the first person that after you get through enrollment with the office, that's going to greet you, welcome you into the school. You meet with your academic coach, and you either bring transcripts if you've already been in high school or you started new. You pick a grad plan. They go over a graduation plan with you. What are your goals for, after high school? And so we know kind of what path you need to take. Your academic coach helps you with picking your classes, setting your graduation plan, ordering your classes for the semester. And then throughout the semester, you have your facilitators in each of your classes, obviously, that you can go to open office hours with. But you also have your academic coach the whole time throughout your high school experience who really can answer any of your questions, help you at any time. You meet with once a week for advisory. It's really just that person that is there, making sure you're getting your work done, making sure you're getting help if needed. they're really just like, as you said, like your strongest support that you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the role of an academic coach.
Yeah, so somebody to kind of stitch that whole high school experience so you don't just have a hodgepodge of educators. You called them
Right.
facilitators. That's what we call our teachers. They are fully credentialed, highly qualified professional educators that work with our learners. But then you also have that coach, which is it is concierge, counselor, coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
It is your individualized, your personalized support network to guide you through that high school experience. Something just
Absolutely.
completely world changing in the area of online learning. So, Cindy, let's talk about, you mentioned auditing and compliance, accountability. There is a myth out there that charter schools are not public schools. They're not subject to the same scrutiny of neighborhood district schools, but that's not the case, right? How often do you have to?
No,
right.
it's not.
So talk about some of the stuff that you do in terms of compliance. How often do you have to report to the state of California's Department of Education?
So once a year, we get audited through the state of California. The one thing that we receive funding for, state funding for being a public charter school, is attendance. We receive public funding for attendance. And so once a year, we have to go through an audit with the state of California, which shows like our attendance. So
right.
In a nutshell, the state of California will be like, okay, there's these, let's say 25 or so learners from last year. And then there's a list of everything that we have to provide and show them for those learners. And how we claim attendance, obviously, because we're an online school, you don't show up to school, right? And that's how in a traditional school, on-site school, you claim attendance when a learner shows up.
When the kids are coming through the turnstile, right?
It's by the work that they complete.
Aha. So and so that's actually kind of a higher level of scrutiny, because in theory,
right.
and I know it doesn't happen too often, but in a campus-based school, a kid, like I say, can walk through the turnstile, sit down at their desk and go to sleep and not do anything. School gets paid for that. Y'all don't get paid until your kids are actually doing the work, making progress, and learning.
Yes, absolutely. You're exactly right in what you just said. In order for us to be able to claim you for attendance, you have to be doing work, and we have to be able to show that work when we're audited.
Okay. And so, yeah, there's quite a bit of scrutiny, quite a bit of compliance. Cindy, I want to mix it up just a little bit. I want to talk about your role, or I guess it was your former role as academic coach, and how you've supported other academic coaches. But since we're kind of dabbling in it right now, we've talked a bit about what's made online learning different than obviously campus-based learning. And we've differentiated iLEADonline from some of the other, like what we call kind of canned curriculum, digital, click here, take the test kind of things. You guys are the antithesis of that. But I have heard some folks liken, because you're an independent study model, right? Being an online virtual school. I've heard folks compare you to like a home study program similar to iLEAD's exploration program. Can you differentiate a little bit about what's different between your school, iLEADonline, and a home study program?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually a very frequent question we get from people. So iLEAD Exploration, when you sign up for iLEAD Exploration, it'd be probably more the traditional homeschool you might think of, where, the parent really is teaching and helping, has an active role in that. And so when you go to iLEAD Exploration, you receive your educational funds, that where you can choose, for math, I think I want to order this curriculum and I'm going to teach it to my child. But I might, for English, I think I'm going to go through this vendor and order this class, and they're going to take this class. And you have so many options in that way to use your educational funds. With iLEADonline, we have awesome facilitators. So your educational funds basically would pay for our classes, our facilitators, and us providing all of the education to your children. We're unlimited number of classes. So if you're a high schooler and you're on top of it and you're getting through your classes and you want to take more than you would traditionally take, you can absolutely do that. It's free. And so I say that would be the biggest difference is with exploration, as I said, you can pick from different vendors, curriculum, things like that. With iLEADonline, we provide everything for you.
Yeah, so a home study program might be right for a family who is ready for that kind of autonomy and really to take on all those different decisions and really guiding the child's education. You all handle the curriculum, you handle the instruction, you take care of all the different things, but you're still able to completely customize the education for the learner. Cindy Williams is lead academic coach with iLEADonline. She's joining me this morning. We'll talk more when we get back, including how they can personalize education for each individual student in an online platform, and maybe what a typical day looks like for their learners, and more importantly, how you can enroll. So stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. There we are. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. Maybe you're on the app. Yeah, that's right. KHTS has got an app for that. You can listen to us on your phone. You can stream live on their website, hometownstation.com, which has got a bajillion resources. Bajillion. It's a number. I promise. I taught fourth grade math. Anyways, I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. We're talking this morning with the fabulous lead academic coach at iLEADonline Public Charter School, Cindy Williams. Cindy, we've talked about iLEADonline and how you kind of differentiate yourself in the space and are able to provide really personalized, a personalized approach to online learning. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But your lead academic coach, you told us before about how the academic coaches are sort of responsible for being that concierge, counselor, support network for each one of our learners. I guess that's kind of a teaser. That's how we get individualized learning there. But as lead academic coach, you support those academic coaches. So talk a little bit about what that academic coach does on the regular and how you support the academic coaches at iLEADonline.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, kind of the academic coach is a go-to person, especially in high school for those learners that have, multiple classes, multiple facilitators running those, and academic coaches there, just one go-to person that helps kind of with everything. But one thing that academic coaches do, and I mentioned that in the lower school, TK through 8th grade, you're facilitator and academic coach in one for your class. But you hold morning meetings or advisory. You do that weekly. Especially you'll see in all ages, but in advisory, you cover so many things, and especially even those social emotional things, learner outcomes, just different things that we have that you cover. So I meet with coaches weekly. We meet in a collab and we support, kind of go over and help with advisory, any questions they may have. I do training for new coaches. But also, so we have an academic coach, sounds like a college and career counselor, but we actually also have a college and career counselor.
Yes,
we have a whole team that will work with our academic coaches to support our learners. So we have our college and career counselor, we have our academic coaches, we have all our facilitators, we have Pamela, who works a lot with learners that might be struggling or getting behind. We have our students, our awesome student support team for any of our learners who may have an IEP or 504s. And we have a whole team that work together, and we support our academic coaches so that our learners are doing okay. They're getting the support they needed. They're being successful. We're, able to meet their needs, their individual needs as a learner.
So you're already answering my next question in so many different ways. And that question was, how does iLEADonline personalize learning if you're not able to meet with your kids at like a brick and mortar kind of come into the class, sit down type school? And it is something I can totally understand families being concerned about. I had, when I was a high school principal, I had kids enrolling in online classes with other organizations, and the computer doesn't know if the kid's there or not. I mean, the coursework is there for when you log in, but when you're not showing up for class, there's nobody that's like, hey, where's, Cindy's kid? You talked about student support. That's another one of those things that folks don't realize is we've got a fully credentialed, high quality special education team that's available to meet each
Yep.
one of the needs of a learner, no matter what they are. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other ways that you're able to individualize learning for kids with different needs, whether it's different academic needs, different social needs, different schedule needs? Talk about that.
Absolutely. So we get a very diverse group of learners into our school, from learners who, like we were just talking about, may have an IEP or 504 and maybe have different learning needs that they have, to learners who maybe just prefer to learn from home, to we actually get a lot of learners too that are either actors. We get a lot that are highly into sports and have very, very busy days with sports. And so we have very diverse group that needs like different needs. And so sometimes we might know those needs right away based on our initial meetings with families, with parents and learners, and we kind of know. And sometimes we don't see until we start getting a few weeks in and we start seeing the patterns of our learners. Mm-hmm. And we have this great thing called a progress tracker where we are every week, our facilitators, our academic coaches, we're keeping track of each learner individually of where they're at, how they're doing in their classes. So that way all of our support people can jump in and help before, we get too far along. But one thing that I love that we do with iLEADonline is our personalized learning. So like, let's say you're a high schooler and you're doing well in most of your classes, but let's say maybe English, you're just struggling. And let's say we can do this for anybody, no matter what the reason, but let's just say, you know what, you don't have any student support needs in that way, but just really just struggling in the class. It's really, you're struggling to grasp your attention or whatever. We can personalize that class. We can either, the academic coach can work with you and the facilitator and personalize the class a little bit and tailor it and maybe make it more of a project within the class and still work with the subjects or books that you're using in the class. Or we could even go and we can make a personalized project tailored just to you to cover English, let's say. And so let's say maybe there's something you're really interested in. There's some subject that just really you want to learn more about. We could tailor like an English class, for instance, and we could pick books that are appropriate for the age that you're at, that are hard enough or, meet those standards that you should be in a book that you have. And we can tailor a whole project around books that cover the subject that you want to learn more about and create a project that hits all those standards, hits all those things to cover your English class. It's awesome the things that we can do. We could even, let's say maybe when you open your computer and you go onto our platform and you see, let's say your 5 or 6 classes sitting there, that could be overwhelming for some kids. Like, oh, I have all these classes and all these things to do. But that's okay. Let's say maybe you would work better doing one class at a time. We can create a schedule for you where, okay, we're going to do English. And in these 3 weeks or 2.5, 3 weeks, you're going to finish this entire English class. It's the only class you're going to work on. You're not going to worry about any of your other classes, and then you're going to finish it. And then we're going to move on, and we're going to work on the next class. And you can do one class at a time, and then if you follow the schedule, you can finish all of your classes by the end of the semester. We can absolutely tailor to your needs and how you work and how you learn best.
So extremely highly customizable, and again, so important that it's not just the flexibility of online learning and schedules, but you've got the experienced educational professional humans there that are there to guide families, help them make decisions on what's best for their unique needs. And boy, you talk about unique needs. You all really do have a significant population of just about all of these, right? You mentioned actors, kids working in the industry. Now, those kids are probably getting really far ahead right now because they're on strike, right? But then, the strike, once their strike gets resolved and they go back to work, they can flex, work in the evening, do their stuff on the weekends, whatever they need. You've got kids that are training for Olympic or high level athletics. Then you've got some learners, who may be credit deficient and are using iLEADonline to get caught up and get their graduation plans back on track. Speaking of graduation plans, you've had learners that have found the customization of iLEADonline the avenue that they need to take so that they can graduate early. I know a couple of years ago you had a learner in your school who was not ready to start, had already started his career as a movie producer. And so he was able to work around his filming schedule and then graduate early and launch his career. And everything in between. You mentioned kids that might be struggling socially on a large campus, whether it's an elementary school, high school. In fact, let's dip into that a little bit, Cindy, because we've sort of, at least I have, alluded to the high school a lot today. But let's talk about something that families oftentimes struggle to kind of wrap their head around. You guys have all the way starting with transitional kindergarten. Y'all got 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds
we do.
in your online school. How is that possible? Because, like, I've got a friend who's got a 5-year-old who can't even, work the iPad. How do these littles engage in school in a way where because let's face it, Cindy, these kids need to learn to read and they need to interact with peers. How is that happening in an online platform?
We have this awesome TK kinder facilitator. Her name is Jeannie. She is great, and she has a great care team help her. Her name is Shannon. And obviously, when you have a TK or kindergartner, you're going to have a parent or some adult home that's helping, obviously. But
certainly, don't leave your kindergartners home alone, friends.
Yeah, yeah. So daily, those TK kinders will come on to what is called morning meeting to kind of start their day, and that can vary what time it is on what day it is. But they come in every day. They do what is a morning meeting. They are on live with Miss Jeannie and Miss Shannon. I do know that
and
they
their
even then will break off.
So they're interacting with their classmates too, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so they've got that social interaction.
They're doing interactive things with their learners. I've heard they're even out there showing Shannon, if you know Shannon at all, she's worked for iLEAD for a long time also. Yeah. She basically has like a farm in her backyard, and they're out there with the animals. They're out there teaching in such fun ways, and the kids are all on showing their faces, being interactive. They'll even go into they'll break out and sometimes separate the kinder and TKs and work individually with them, maybe going over letters or different things. They have their classes on Brightspace that they will go into and work and watch videos and do these fun things. If you ever, I get to see the work all the time because I talked about earlier in the audit, but it's so fun to see these videos of these kids writing their letters or doing these creative ways to show the letters that they're learning and the sounds they're learning. And so it's so fun. It's super interactive. You see the kids just smiles on their faces, working with their families at home on their classes. It's really, really fun to see.
Yeah. And so it again, really customizable, but hyper focused to that age, totally age appropriate. And it's not just kids sitting on computers all day. Each lower school, each elementary aged learner receives what you call an adventure box, because so much of it,
K through 3 does.
It's
kindergarten, TK through 3 does.
Okay,
yeah.
TK through 3. So it's not like fully digitized. They're doing hands-on learning, building stuff with their hands.
Yes.
So it's something that your kid really can do. And you mentioned Jeannie and the rest of the team. Your kids are thriving. Your reading scores at those grades are off the charts. They're doing great. So, Cindy, we've been talking up iLEADonline all morning long. It really is an amazing school. I got to think there's people out there asking that question of themselves. Okay, the school down the street is a free public school. How much does it cost for families to enroll at iLEADonline, Cindy?
Absolutely free. If you are a full-time learner with us, it is absolutely free. We are a free charter school.
Right. And remember that trick that I taught you at the beginning of the show? Charter means free. Charter schools are funded the same way the traditional district schools are, through your tax dollars. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. And so anybody that lives, so is it anybody in the state of California can attend iLEADonline? Because there's no valet line. There's no traffic. You don't have to drive your kids to school. Just roll out and jump online and get into class. So, who can enroll? Is there a geographic kind of fence? What
There
neighborhood?
is.
Okay.
There is, unfortunately. I wish it was for everybody. Well, okay. To be a full-time learner with us, there is. You could always pay for a separately Indian vendor and live anywhere. Just want to put that out there.
Interesting.
But
Let's talk about that in just a second. So,
a free full-time learner with us, you have to live in Los Angeles, Orange, Ventura, San Bernardino, or Kern County.
Okay. So, and that's kind of the way the charter school rules work in California.
Right.
Our school is authorized actually right up the street here in Acton, Agua Dulce. And so for charter schools, you're allowed to enroll if you live in that county, not just that city or town or neighborhood, but that county or the adjacent counties. So you've got learners in San Bernardino, Kern, as far north as Bakersfield, Ventura County, Orange County, and
Orange
of course,
County.
and of course here in LA. So that does kind of take the gloves off a little bit, right? So pretty much if you can hear my voice, unless of course you're in Germany and online, you can attend our free public charter school, iLEADonline, again, for free. But Cindy, you also mentioned if folks don't necessarily meet those residency requirements, but want to take your Japanese class, or they want to learn about photography and just want to take that one class, 2 classes, 3 classes, what have you, they can purchase your classes?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 3 kids, and my middle child, my oldest daughter, she actually utilized this her junior year of high school. She wanted to kind of get ahead, and I personally paid for her to take U.S. government one semester, economics the next semester, which would be senior year classes. And then I paid for them personally because they can't be free because she's already enrolled in another school that is claiming attendance for her. So I paid for them personally. She finished the classes, and then I get transcripts through iLEADonline, send them to her current school, and then they accept those grades in those classes.
So that's another interesting option. We're not talking about someone who lives in, Iowa, who wants to take iLEADonline's photography class, but folks that actually live even more locally do live within those 5 counties that we mentioned, but want to stay enrolled in their current school. They just need to pick up. Cindy, I remember when I was in high school, this would have been really helpful. I flubbed my geometry class in sophomore year, and I would have been able to pick that back up, take it during the evenings, and that would have been really helpful. Or, oftentimes, even in a big high school, it's tough to staff more than 1 or 2 world languages, for example. I remember when I was in school, I could choose Spanish or French because we didn't have the staff to offer Japanese or Mandarin or German or something like that. But y'all, because of the online platform, you're able to offer a greater variety of courses. So that leads me to something. If families want to kind of pay for out of pocket those a la carte classes, or if they're ready to enroll full time, because shoot, if you've got all these amazing classes, all this flexibility, all these incredible options, incredibly customizable, your kids got their own personal concierge to customize the learning around them, why wouldn't families want to enroll full time? Cindy, where can families get more information on how to enroll their learners, or take a look at your catalog and see about maybe taking 1 or 2 classes, sort of to test drive you?
So you'd go to iLEADonline.org. I do want to say that we are NCAA approved, A through G approved, and WASC accredited. But you would go to iLEADonline.org, and you can get so much information there about us, resources. You could go to our course catalog. You can look at any classes that we offer, TK through high school through 12th grade. You can look at our calendar there. You can even enroll there. You can, and when you click on enroll here, if you're interested in being full-time, if you're looking at individual courses, or if you're looking at our Track C July start, all of our options are there. You can also, even if you want to talk to somebody, go to contact and reach out so someone can call you back.
There's so much that so much more that we could have talked about. You mentioned NCAA approved. So if your kid is an aspiring college athlete,
Yes.
they're not going to have any problems walking on, or if they are good enough to receive a scholarship, participating in those programs. You mentioned that we're A through G approved. So the UC system has looked at all of our classes and put their seal of approval on there. We're WASC approved. So we've got that accountability. They're accrediting that our schools are growing and doing what they say they're doing. Cindy Williams, academic coach with iLEADonline. Again, transitional kindergarten through 12th grade, free public charter school. Again, check them out at iLEADonline.org. That's iLEADonline.org. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You have a
You're
great
welcome.
weekend.
You too. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. We will be right back. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley. When we come back, we'll help you figure out what to do this weekend on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVI and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley, the show with the most dynamic sound engineers in the booth. What you doing this weekend? What do you got going on? You got any plans? It is Friday. You're sitting there. You're enjoying another phenomenal episode of Eye on the Valley. And I was going to say iLEADonline. We just spoke with Cindy Williams from iLEADonline. Again, for more information about our fully accredited free public charter school that is online to meet all your child's needs, go to iLEADonline.org. But you might be just kicking back, enjoying the show, having that second cup of coffee, and wondering what you're going to do this weekend with the family. There's some pretty cool stuff going on out there. You might want to check it out. First of all, do you like Corvettes? Because there's an all-Corvette car show taking place tomorrow, September 30th. That's Saturday at 3 p.m. at Route 66 Classic Grill on Soledad Canyon. That's right up there by the movie theaters. Go ahead and check out the all-Corvette car show, 3 p.m. on Saturday. A couple weeks ago, we had Monica Gilchrist from Gilchrist Farm here in the studio, and I got super excited about all the different things they've got going on for this fall season. Remember, they've got hay rides. You can milk the goats and then buy some goat milk soap. I don't know how I feel about goat milk soap, but it sounds like a lot of fun. You can, did I say hay rides? What about archery? They've got archery for the littlest of littles. No, they're not going to give them the sharp bows and arrows. But then if you are a big kid like me, you're going to get the bow and arrow and try your hand at archery or even axe throwing. Yeah. Stay clear of the goats with the axes, but they've got all kinds of amazing stuff. And then as we get closer to the holidays, you're going to be able to have breakfast with Santa and all kinds of cool stuff at Gilchrist Farm. That's starting, tomorrow, Saturday, September 30th through October 31st. They've got their Harvest Festival and Pumpkin Patch. So perfect time to get out there and play with the pumpkins and the kids at Gilchrist Farm. We've got Over the River and Through the Woods. I think we're going to grandmother's house, but in order to get there, you've got to go to Canyon Theater Guild. And that is tomorrow as well. A lot going on tomorrow. Lots to choose from, friends. That's tomorrow, Saturday, September 30th at 2 p.m. Check out Canyon Theater Guild for more information on that. If you're into comedy, you've got the gods of comedy. I mean, come on. How much better does it get? Again, Saturday and Sunday, September 30th, October 1st at the Canyon Theater Guild. Check them out. Lots going on at the Guild. Again, Canyon Theater Guild got a lot going on. How about a fair? You looking for a good fair? You could head up north to the Antelope Valley Fair and Alfalfa Festival. No, not the kids running around with their hair sticking up, but the actual grain, alfalfa. You can head up to the fair September 22nd, started last weekend, through October 1st. So the fair closes this weekend. You might want to get there. So head up to the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds for that. We've also got When You Wish Upon a Star Spotlight Series. That is this Sunday, October 1st at 5 p.m. at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center at College of the Canyons. So check out the COC PAC, College of the Canyons Performing Arts Center, for more information there. Here's another thing we spoke about on the show a couple weeks ago, the Veteran Job Fair. This is a job fair just for veterans and their families. That is today, Friday, September 20th at 10 p.m. So as we're wrapping up the show, head to College of the Canyons if you are a veteran or family member, and they've got a job there for you. So we've got all different kinds of things coming up here this weekend in Santa Clarita and the surrounding areas. So check it out. Have an amazing weekend. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. We spoke earlier this morning with Cindy Williams. She is the lead academic coach at iLEADonline. And if you missed it, come back and scoop it up in the podcast, because iLEADonline really is providing incredibly dynamic, highly personalized education, TK through 12, in a free setting. We are a free public charter school. For more information on them, check them out at iLEADonline.org. We also talked a little bit about what's going on here in the Valley before the break, just a little bit. There's so much happening this weekend in Santa Clarita and in the surrounding areas. For more on what's happening around you this weekend, and we talk about news. There's all kinds of news and things like that constantly popping, and KHTS keeps you up to date minute by minute. So check out all of that stuff on our website, hometownstation.com. But we are live right now, coming to you from the center of beautiful downtown Newhall, right here on Main Street. And I have the fortunate pleasure to be joined by the newly promoted president and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation. Jay Wagner has been mastering the art of transformative growth for over 30 years, and we are so fortunate to have him stewarding the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, here in Santa Clarita. He's established a record of cross-industry successes. As a workforce and economic development executive, he facilitates industry and quality of life improvement activities through business attraction and expansion, business retention and assistance, and workforce development. His expertise includes creating, developing, and implementing policies, procedures, and practices that promote improved productivity, quality, and efficiency. And that's a lot of alliteration for anxious anchors promoting prominent posts. He holds his bachelor's in organizational management from the University of Laverne, his MBA from Purdue, go Boilermakers, and his educational doctorate in organizational change and leadership from a school right here in town. Okay, USC, right?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. I'm a Bruin, but you know what? They've got an amazing leadership and educational program at SC. Quite the resume. Jay, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. And boy, when I hear you say those things, I think to myself, oh my goodness, I did those things? That's amazing. But wow, I'm shocked myself.
Right.
Long life.
in the 22 years that you have. So
Exactly. A lot going on and still a lot to do, but pleasure to be here.
And we're so fortunate, like I said, to have you. Recently promoted to president and CEO of the EDC. That's the Economic Development Corporation here in Santa Clarita. And we're so fortunate to have an organization like that really stewarding the growth and curating a strong business community that is so important to this valley. Can you tell our listeners who might not be as familiar what the EDC is and does in our valley?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. We are very unique in that we are what's considered to be a private and public partnership. We represent the entire united effort of not only the regional industry itself, also government leaders. And we, as the SCV EDC, we overall adopt what we consider to be an integrated approach. And that's focused on attracting, retaining, and expanding diversity of businesses, especially those in key industry clusters. And I'll throw a few of them out there just so
Please.
The audience is a little bit more familiar with that. Aerospace and defense, bioscience and medical devices, advanced manufacturing, digital and entertainment, information technology, and also corporate headquarters and professional services. So that too is a mouthful, but for a specific focus, big picture wise, that's really what we focus in and do around.
Well, gosh, and it's certainly not coincidence, but you mentioned a few of the industries that I know have been really key industries in keeping our valley as prosperous and productive as we've been over the last few decades. Aerospace, I know when we say aerospace, a lot of times folks' minds go a little bit further north to the Air Force Base. But I was actually stomping around looking for aerospace companies here in the valley a few years back. Like 50, 60 aerospace companies right here in Valencia, bioscience, entertainment, of course. We've got entertainment all over the place. And again,
right.
not in small part due to the work that you and your team at the EDC have done. So I want to give you a little bit of chance to maybe spread your shoulders a little bit and brag on the Economic Development Corporation. What are some of the things that the EDC has accomplished in the recent past?
Well, thank you so much. And I'll borrow from what Holly Schroeder, my predecessor, said often. She mentioned that economic development is truly a team sport. I too believe that. I'm an advocate of it. And no doubt in my experience so far in my short time in this capacity, as well as my short time with the EDC, have seen that in practice. We, together with local businesses, with the County of Los Angeles, with the City of Santa Clarita, we've been growing the population, job base, new infrastructure, new roads, new parks, homes, industrial facilities.
Wow.
You know, and some of these industrial facilities, as I understand it, were the first introduced within the past decade in North LA County. Santa Clarita is not just this bedroom community that people knew of it. You know, we truly are a powerhouse. We are the third largest city in the County of Los Angeles, which a lot of people may not be aware of. So with some of the things that we've been involved in the recent past, many of you may be familiar with Logic's Federal Credit Union. They were based in Burbank for somewhere in the realm of 85, maybe 87 years.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting and intriguing that they would consider coming here. They've got this impressive history. They've got over 210,000 members, over $9 billion in assets, and they are considered to be Los Angeles County's largest credit union. They've made a sizable investment in the Valley. They're always noted to be a great place to work and a wonderful community supporter. Currently, they have about 700 employees here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Yeah. So that's something we're very proud of. Another example is Drink Pack. Many of you may have been driving down recently the 14 freeway or so, and right off to your left, there's an area called Needham Ranch. And Drink Pack typically had in the past become very popular in creating a successful track record of creating beverage brands and then selling those brands along with the manufacturing facilities to world-class companies like PepsiCo, Keurig, Dr. Pepper.
Wow.
Here, we're honored that they've built a state-of-the-art center, 3 line beverage manufacturing contracts, packaging, fulfillment center. The list goes on. And they are also a powerhouse when it comes to number of employees. You know, when we think about where they started and where they're heading, we already have just asked for a headcount update within the last couple of months, and they're at about 450 employees.
Wow.
So not a bad start within just a couple of years.
Yeah, gosh, you mentioned Logix. I remember when that announcement was made before I really knew anything about the EDC, and I just remember thinking, wow, what a coup for our community. I had known of Logix even when they were Lockheed Federal Credit Union, and just kind of for the aerospace industry, but it was an amazing pull that the EDC really did play a huge part in to get their company up here, and you mentioned Drink Pack and
Right.
so many others just doing great things.
Yeah, there's one other I'd like to throw out there as well. And California-based Vallarta Supermarkets is actually relocating their corporate headquarters here.
Oh, wow.
We would expect in the first part of 2024 that the 3-building campus, which is over on Avenue Stanford, will be in full operation. That campus is bordered by Advanced Bionics, Donaldson, Southern California Edison, and other small businesses and manufacturers around the Valencia Industrial Center. So we're excited to have Vallarta Supermarkets join the Santa Clarita Valley family as well.
Wow, that is fantastic. The EDC really has accomplished quite a bit. You mentioned under the stewardship of your predecessor, Holly Schroeder, who has moved on to a new opportunity in her life, and I know y'all wish her well. So now I want to transition. Let's get to know you a little bit, and then let's talk about the future of the EDC. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mentioned your impressive education. Can you share with us a little bit about your previous professional journey prior to arriving to the EDC here in June?
Sure, glad to do so. I was actually born and raised in the neighboring valley, San Fernando Valley, born in Encino. I know there's a handful of us out there that consider ourselves to be native Californians.
Yeah.
I would definitely claim myself to be one.
818 for life.
Yeah. And straight out of high school, I went into the United States Air Force, hoping to experience a journey in media and photography. I saw myself as being the guy in the back of a cockpit taking these awesome photographs and helping to market the services of the United States Armed Forces. And sure enough, that didn't happen. But long story short, I ended up falling into what I felt is a blessing in disguise in that career-wise. My role was to perform presentations, actually perform statistic and data analytics on F-16 aircraft and the mission capabilities. So I was able to present those statistics at an early age for my 4.5, almost 5-year career in the Air Force. And that led me into the world of training and development, but also a little bit of technology behind there. And then I ended up what I call as well the uncovered opportunities that we have in life, falling into a role which was the role of a lifetime, and that was to lead a human resources effort within the .com arena. So for those of you that remember some of these .coms turned .bombs, I was fortunate to be in many of them. But at the end of the day, I was able to build my HR executive skill set, which led me into executive coaching and also into professional development. Later on, I ended up within the past decade having the opportunity to own the Dale Carnegie training franchise of Greater LA and Ventura County. And after I sold my interest in that, I was able to travel around the world and help other organizations around the world, especially their leadership teams, in developing skill sets that would help them to increase their productivity and perhaps expand their business and growth. And that's what leads me here today. Is I'm here in a wonderful position in that when I joined the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, I came in into the role of the Vice President of Workforce and Economic Development. That was May 30th of this year.
Yeah.
And I had met Holly about 10 years ago, and she had come through one of my programs, so we stayed in touch. And when I saw her post that opportunity, I thought, wow, what a wonderful way to get active in my community. I missed out on so much in my 33 years living here. And what a great way to put a flag in my career stand and say, here's somewhere where I can be for another decade to 15 years and call it a great, successful career. So with that said, within a week and a half of me joining, Holly had mentioned that she was leaving and moving on to an opportunity.
Guess what?
I had hoped it wasn't because of me, but in all good news, I was able to participate in the recruitment effort of being one of the candidates under consideration. Okay. And here we are. This marks the 2 weeks into my President and CEO role here at the SCV EDC. So hopefully that covered your angles there. And of course, along the way, I tried to avoid education at all costs, getting out of high school, I think, like a lot of high school students do. Luckily, right away, I had some advisors that put me into college level courses, and I never stopped growing. So I was able to, along the way, align everything that I did with leadership or management or something in the way of dealing with change.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for your service in the armed forces, but then also thank you for your service to our community. So we talked about the EDC and what role it plays and everything that it does to help grow the economy and the business environment here in the Santa Clarita Valley area. But let's talk specifically about your role. What is it as president and CEO that you're doing on a regular basis?
Thank you. I support our board of directors. We have an extremely dynamic board. It's a large board. We have 50 board members, but we also have an additional 12 members that serve as our executive committee, and that includes some of our institutional partners, including our city manager, Dr. Ken Striplin, including Dr. Diane Van Hook from College of the Canyons, our chancellor, and also, of course, from Supervisor Barger's office, Stephanie English, our senior field rep. So she's also an institutional partner on our executive committee. So I serve the committee in making sure that the mission of the SCV EDC continues to move forward in the right direction as far as building Santa Clarita to further support business, residential, this live-work philosophy in general, but more so to help attract businesses from outside of the valley in. and also make sure that we highlight some of our top industry clusters that we continue to focus in and on. And so as part of my role too, I'm fortunate in that I get to support a very talented team. Scott Heffernan, who's been with us a couple of years in our marketing manager capacity, and also, of course, Lanice Renfro, who serves as our manager of operations and administration. Without those two as part of my team, I'd be completely lost. I owe it all to them. But as we continue to move forward in the charge, I'm the person that can support them in everything that we do and make sure that if there are any barriers or hurdles that we need to come over, we do it together. And I think it's important to mention this question that we all agreed that we would answer. And this is important for us as the team supporting the SCV EDC's mission to understand exactly what keeps us focused. So we throw this question out there. We ask ourselves this often, and then I challenge the board of directors to answer this on our behalf too.
All right.
In what ways can we develop a stronger, highly engaged, and synergetic business community that thrives in SCV, ultimately conducting more business, creating more job opportunities, and strengthening a live and work in SCV mantra?
I absolutely love that. With iLEAD Schools, we are a project-based learning school network, and every powerful project that our learners engage in start with a driving question. So that's an amazing driving question that you set for your team and for your board. Jay, talking about your team and your board and then the community that you work with, you're really interacting with some power players on a regular basis. As a teacher, I always talk about wearing all the different hats, right? Because I'm a teacher, but I'm also a social worker, a counselor, a nurse, an extra parent. You really wear a lot of hats as well. I can imagine. You mentioned professional development, so you're in education yourself and human resources, but also there's got to be a lot of politicking as you interact with the private sector, the public sector, builders, different things like that. So it's really kind of a heavy role that's been placed on your shoulders. And again, we're grateful for you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your vision as a leader, because each new leader that takes over, they have their own perspective, their goals for the future, and then our community continues to evolve. And you've got to be, you've got to have your eyesight 10, 20 years into the horizon. Mm-hmm. So can you share with us your vision as the new leader of the Economic Development Corporation of the Santa Clarita Valley? What have you got your sights on for the community and the EDC?
Sure. I'm always looking for partnerships that focus similar to like iLEAD, where we can take our younger community members, we could help to expose them in the proper way to the manufacturing environments, biotech environments, entertainment environments, all of these great industries that are here within the Santa Clarita Valley. And through their high school education, give them opportunities to be what I would call in the mix of what's going on in our community from the business example. A great example of that is we are having a manufacturing day. I say we as in partnership with College of the Canyons. They are actually leading that effort, and we always like to associate ourselves with winners. So they are having a wonderful Manufacturers Day on October 5th, where in partnership with the Heart District, many high school students, juniors, seniors alike, are getting the opportunity to come through our brand new temporary Advanced Manufacturing Technology Center and get to see many of these manufacturers face to face for the first time. The manufacturers get to share with the high school students some of their experiences, some material, and perhaps leave a lasting impression so that when the high schoolers do go back and start thinking more about their careers, perhaps they'll entertain some of our local manufacturers and or other industries in this area.
Yeah, very important. It's something that I think a lot of folks have kind of had their eyes on over the last few years. Is we've got a really strong network of business professionals, nonprofit leaders that are ready to step into retirement. Mm-hmm. And we've got to backfill this amazingness that makes us, and I like to say, tongue in cheek, poke fun at the Awesome Town moniker, mm-hmm. but we really do live in an amazing community that is going to need to continue to curate and lift up those new leaders. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You've got your eye on that.
Absolutely. And I like to think we're still golden. That's been something that Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation has definitely bought into. Yeah. It's very important to us to continue heading in that direction, and you hit the head on the nail there. Our youth is so important, not only, of course, just logically to the future, but when we think about giving them opportunities to recognize they do not have to move so far away in order to find great careers. They are right here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, greatness is here and always has been. It's just not always easy to recognize it when you're right there in the midst. We're talking this morning with Jay Wagner, President and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation. When we get back, we've got a lot more to talk about. The EDC's big economic outlook event that y'all just put together a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of pretty prestigious awards that you've received. And then, the one question that everybody's talking about is they're grabbing burgers around town. What in the world is going on with the mall? You've got questions. Jay's got answers. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Jay Wagner, the president and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, and all the incredible things that they do to attract businesses and develop businesses here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Now, Jay, we talked about it a little bit already. Kind of the highlight of the EDC's calendar every year, your seminal event, is the Economic Outlook, where you gather the community and kind of share forecasts and what the economy here in the Santa Clarita Valley is looking like. Unfortunately, we do our show every Friday, and I wasn't able to be there when you guys put together your outlook. So for those of us that weren't able to make it a couple weeks ago, can you share some of the information that was covered? How are things looking? Are we doom and gloom? Are we bullish? How are we doing?
Well, thank you. Let's remove doom and gloom from every conversation we have from this point moving forward.
Yeah, all right. Good to know. Good to know.
In a nutshell, for those of you who are not familiar with the economic outlook, this happens every year, typically in the month of September. In fact, I'll mention what our next date is. So if you want to mark it on your calendar, that'd be a great thing to do. But this most recent economic event occurred on September 15th. There were over 400 people in attendance, which was fantastic to see so many familiar faces as well as some new faces. We've had a substantial number of digital Outlook books downloaded so far, and those Outlook books actually contain tons of new data. And here's the wonderful thing about this. Not just California, not just LA County, but also inclusive of the city of Santa Clarita and the Santa Clarita Valley. So really what I call down-home statistics that we can all benefit from knowing and get familiar with. Overwhelming responses from attendees have been very positive. They've stated that this is our best so far. No pressure on my end for next year. So with that said, the particular emphasis was on one of our guest speakers, Jack Aldridge. He did a presentation on business as unusual. That's all about the importance of embracing change with an open mindset, maintaining an awareness of emerging trends and technologies, and why future planning really needs to play a pivotal role in how companies do business. Mm-hmm. The recording of his presentation was fortunately published online for those who had purchased tickets but were not able to attend. We are in the midst of working to see if there's any way we can also offer that out to all other community members for a period of at least 30 days. But I will have to get back to you, and perhaps you can announce on one of your near future programs the answer to that question.
I'd love to.
We'll see what we can do. Dr. Schneep's presentation, he's our go-to economist, and report held very positive outlook for SCV's economic position. We continue to increase in population size. We're at about just shy of 300,000, accompanied by steady construction of residential and much-needed industrial developments. That's going to keep us moving in the right direction. Our workforce in all sectors have almost completely recovered from the trauma of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Business formation growth has continued to accelerate, and job growth has been limited by job growth has only been limited by an almost fully employed workforce. So we're doing very well in all capacities. Now, I do want to say I've got some individual statistics which might be interesting. I brought those along with me.
Please, yeah.
So more than 72% of SCVers have attended some type of college. The majority of residents are of working age, which is pretty interesting. The total number of residents was at 294,090.
Okay.
As far as the median household income among the highest in Los Angeles County, Santa Clarita Valley is at $123,000, Los Angeles County is at $88,000, and California in general is at $89,000. So those of us who are interested in having high-paying jobs and great careers to go along with those high-paying jobs, looks like we're in the right valley to start. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
50% of SCV households have the annual income of at least $100,000. And again, this is just economic data. Not bad if you have less, not great if you have more. Just providing some facts and some statistics.
Giving you something to strive for.
Yeah, something to strive for. And SCV employment enjoys a diverse mix of occupations. This is very interesting. About 10% of those in our current labor market fall within professional and business services.
Okay.
About 7% fall within the manufacturing realm, 4.5% construction, 9% healthcare and education, retail about 10%, and leisure and hospitality another 10%. So those are the largest categories where we have some solid numbers. Just thought that would be helpful as far as some quick facts. Next year's economic development report date will be on September 27, 2024. That is a Friday. So please do mark your calendars. It will be a great Friday for us to all meet and gather together and celebrate all of the successes we have, not only from 23 to 24, but the future to hold as well.
Right. Moving forward, I'll have to let producer Sarah know September 27th, 2024, we'll be running a rerun on Eye on the Valley so that she and I can head out to the EDC's Economic Outlook.
Great.
2024. So you mentioned how well-educated, well-trained, and diverse in many ways the Santa Clarita Valley is. I wanted to ask what makes our valley so attractive to businesses. If there's a business owner out there that's listening, why they might want to, bring their headquarters or a branch office or something up here. Is it those three things, our level of education, training, and diverse business acumen that makes it so attractive? What is it that continues to bring so many businesses here to realize Santa Clarita is a great place to work in, to bring your business to?
Gotcha. Now, this may sound like a laundry list of things, and that's not my intention. I just want to make sure, in case there's something intriguing for those of you who might be listening, perhaps you'll want to then do a little bit more research in that area. Specifically, the city of Santa Clarita, we could start there. We're considered a low tax region based upon the following. There's no business licensing tax, no utility user tax, no city tax on commercial property, no gross receipts tax, no parking tax, no payroll tax. The city of Santa Clarita has a use tax rebate program. Use tax is typically like sales tax, except it's tax that we are charged by purchases in outside the state of California.
Sure.
California partial sales tax exemption from manufacturing and R&D equipment, of course, since we're in the beautiful state, the golden state of California. California partial sales tax exemption for construction and tenant improvements. Research and development tax credits, California competes tax credit, California employment hiring credit, work opportunity tax credit, recycling market development zone, just got a couple more, foreign trade zone, and of course, Southern California Edison's economic development rate incentive program. So handfuls of things to consider, and that's just focus on the city of Santa Clarita as well. But in a nutshell, a lot of businesses are very intrigued to learn that we are only 30 miles from downtown LA.
Right.
We're close to LAX and all the ports. We're within the 30-mile zone. We are considered the Hollywood north of Hollywood, per se. Easy access to the I-5, 405, and the 14. Nearly 300,000 residents, as we mentioned. The median household, again, the best that we just showed statistic-wise in comparison to the state of California and also the county of Los Angeles. 70% have at least some college. Millennials, heads off to millennials, are the largest generation that we have, really leading the charge and helping us to grow as quickly as we can. We are considered one of the most business-friendly cities. You might ask yourself, well, who says that? Not just our parents, right? Not just our family members. But we can claim that fame also as the happiest city, the healthiest city, one of the safest cities, and the best place to start a family.
Yeah.
Just can't beat that. Now, how's that for a list?
You're absolutely right. Your employees are going to want to live here and grow their families here. And you mentioned all the low taxes and the incentives. And then what that does is it doesn't eliminate revenue. It actually brings more revenue in, sort of paradoxically. So yeah, it's we always have been, but I think those larger industries are starting to discover what a great environment the Santa Clarita Valley is to bring your business, to open a new, like I said, branch office, things like that. And the EDC is doing a great job. Jay, last break, you mentioned all the things that the Economic Development Corporation has done in the past,
Yes.
all the different things that you've got your eyes on for the future, and it's paying off well by bringing all those businesses and great opportunities here to the Valley. But you're also getting some awards. The EDC has recently received a couple of international awards. So congratulations to you and your team for that. Can you tell us about those awards you've recently been given?
Sure. No, glad to speak of those. We're very proud to be a recipient, and we consider these bronze level awards recognition, specifically in print brochures, and the second one is in business retention and expansion initiatives. That first one was focused around a talent report that was conducted. We released a talent report back in May of 2022. It showcased some key information and analysis for the SCV. It told our story of the who, what, when, where, why, as far as employers, employees, education pipelines, and all of the other great things available in the community. We worked with various partners across the Valley to build a comprehensive talent report, again, just telling the pictorial story using demographics, workforce, and more. On the business retention and expansion initiative side, that was a 2022 business survey. Given the backdrop of the past few years, considering all the effects and aftermath of the pandemic, it was important for us to conduct a comprehensive business survey outreach to local businesses, and that was done in March of 2022 as a post-pandemic extension of our ongoing business retention program. So through the business input, through the survey, we've had 155 respondents in the business community, different size companies, small, medium, large. General feedback was as far as the climate and quality of life. We received very high marks. 82% had mentioned positive, 91% mentioned specifically good or extremely good. Rankings were respective across the board, all levels, very positive.
Wow.
Great use in attracting companies as far as leaning on business case studies and other intriguing aspects of companies who, from the outside, look within the Santa Clarita Valley and recognize other organizations who are very successful here. So that's helpful. And the survey found that the workforce has largely been restored, similar to what Dr. Schneep's stats had mentioned. As far as though we face increases in wages and benefits to retain and recruit employees, we are doing fairly well at attracting the employees on site. So that's good. So that's what those awards are. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Sure.
I feel a little caught off guard by that question in a way because, me not being here at that time, I wish I had more hands-on involvement with that. But again, I can only applaud our existing team and their efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. It just gives you and your team more to live up to as you continue.
That's right.
Forward.
No pressure.
Right. Well, it's, the EDC has been doing great things for a long time, and we know that under your stewardship, the corporation and our valley is just going to continue to grow and continue to flourish. Jay, I'm looking at your website here, and it's got, what really attracted my attention is this cool virtual tour of the Santa Clarita Valley and what's going on and what's coming up. And so if listeners are wondering, hey, what's happening in our valley? Then they can jump on and check out that virtual tour. But what else might you suggest that people could find of interest on your website?
Interesting. Scott Heffernan, our manager of marketing, and I were just having a fun conversation because we agree and disagree on what are some of the best aspects of our website. And it was kind of fun going through the slew of everything that we've presented on the website to the public. Your point about the virtual tour is a really good one. I enjoyed it as well. It's an interactive online tour providing themed virtual tours of amazing features in a community. For example, you can explore Hollywood North that covers all things film and entertainment. Our data and reports page offers demographic information, some of that information which we have just updated from our 2023 report, quick facts brochure where some of the data that I called out here is provided as well, and incentives guide. So for those companies looking to expand within the Santa Clarita Valley, but perhaps from outside looking with, inwards, may be interested to see that we've got an incentive guides that goes a little bit deeper into detail of some of the incentives I provided. Also, we've got a very fancy site selection tool that allows businesses to search for available office and industrial space for lease or purchase. So, big picture wise, great website. We're looking to improve it even more in 2024 to make it a little bit more dynamic than it already is, and keep up to date with all of the trends that we want to make sure that our public needs to be aware of.
Fantastic. And just want to, and I don't want to catch you off guard here, but that website, I'm pulling it up right now.
Sure.
What's the website that folks can go to?
So they can go to scvedc.org.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
scvedc.org to take that virtual tour and check out all the different resources that that you've got on there. I do want to ask because folks are buzzing, and it's been a topsy-turvy time with the rise of online shopping, and then boy, did the pandemic really throw a curveball to community-based retailers. And folks are talking about what's going on at the mall, the Valencia Town Center here. There's been some stuff in the news, and I understand the mall has been sold, but our mall has always been really dynamic, right?
Sure.
Because you've got the mall proper, you've got the surrounding restaurants and shops there. So do you have any information on what's going on with the Valencia Town Center and what the future of that area is?
Well, what I can offer is this. You mentioned out there as far as perhaps PR reports or announcements go. On September 5th, it was announced that the real estate investment firm by the name of Centennial acquired the Westfield Valencia Town Center. They've stated, now known as the Valencia Town Center until further notice. It's the perfect location for, they call it multi-use live, work, play destination. They focused specifically on how they might combine retail, restaurants, entertainment, luxury living, and office spaces. Stephen Levin, the founder and CEO of Centennial, was quoted as saying, "We are committed to the shopping center and to the Santa Clarita community for the long haul. And with some creativity, we can reimagine the center, maximizing its potential for today and tomorrow." Now, I'd rather leave us with that final thought because they are still working diligently through what it is that they want to make as far as a great place to live, work, and stay in Santa Clarita, and how the town center is going to be a focal point in the very near future. So that's what we have as far as communication goes. I will say there's an interesting tool that I failed to mention earlier that might help us to stay on point with what's going on with the town center. Okay. Oddly enough, we have a live, work SCV job site. liveworkscv.com.
Okay.
And if you go to Live Work SCV, you're going to see all of the local organizations and whether it's small retailers to larger companies posting their jobs. So one thing you might notice as it relates to Valencia Town Center is you might start seeing that there's some job openings that start to become posted by companies who are expecting, right, to be part of that whole development. So I just recommend to the listeners to keep an eye on the Live Work SCV job sites. Stop driving on those freeways. Find your home away from home here, work in your community, and at the same time, you might get a hint here or there from some of the upcoming organizations that will be part of the Valencia Town Center.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the website now, liveworkscv.com. You said it's a job board. I'm looking at some pretty powerhouse businesses here that are posting. LBW Insurance, Princess Cruises. I think they're the largest employer in our valley, right?
They're on the top of the list. Princess Cruises is in the top 3 of private employers. Top 6, excuse me.
Okay. You've got Chris Air, of course, your organization, the Santa Clarita Economic Development Corporation, Vallarta Supermarkets, our new friends that have moved up here to Santa Clarita. So great place for folks to go to maybe look if they're looking to change careers, looking for a job, liveworkscv.com. And so with the outlook on the mall, what I'm taking away is sort of a TBD as it's
That's
still
right.
continuing to evolve, but it feels, I feel a little bit more at ease that I know that for a long time coming, I'm going to be able to get out there to Salt Creek and enjoy their pork chops for a while longer. Jay Wagner, President and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Center. I want to thank you so much for joining us again. And again, congratulations to you for the new position and for all the things that you and the folks at the EDC have been accomplishing. Thanks for coming in and joining us this morning. You have a great weekend, sir.
Thanks for having us, Matt. What a pleasure to meet you and pleasure to work with you.
The pleasure is ours. All right, you stick around for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. This is SCVI and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. And boy, we have had a great show today. We spoke with Cindy Williams from iLEADonline. That is your fully accredited free online public charter school. Check them out at iLEADonline.org. We just wrapped up with Jay Wagner, the president and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, talking about all the different things that they're doing to attract, retain, and prepare businesses for success in the Santa Clarita Valley well into the future. But now it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is an executive and philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. He is a man about town, just not this town. He is also a man with one arm longer than the other. It's really weird. Here he is, everybody. His mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Word.
Hey, Big T, we got engineer Andrew here in the studio with us. He's ready to go.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
Hey, Frogger.
Yo.
How come you didn't keep that other smart guy on the phone playing trivia? I have tons of respect for you and Andrew, but I think he could have taken you both.
Well, that's why he had other things more important to do than mop the floor with Andrew and I. But we do have someone else new, Tony, to the show that's taken aim at Andrew and I. We've got engineer Jen in the studio. Tony, say hello to engineer Jen.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Good to hear your voice. Hopefully we hear it again this segment.
I'll try my best. The dead air might be translated as confusion. So.
He's calling you out.
Big T's a little saucy.
He is. So Jen, here's what we do. And for those of you at home, I want to invite you to play along as well. Tony's got some trivia questions for us. And so if you know the answer, don't shout out the answer. You got to hit your buzzer first, right? It's kind of like Jeopardy. You got to buzz in. Andrew, did you leave her buzzer over there?
I can get a buzzer here for myself.
No. Don't worry about that. What we do, because we don't have buzzers on this end, is we just call out our name.
Okay.
Right? So when Andrew knows it, he's going to call out Andrew. When I know the answer, I'm going to call out, oddly enough, Frogger. Nobody really knows why.
Oh, okay.
But so just call out your name.
Okay.
And Tony will recognize you, and then you answer. You get 1 point per correct answer. Those of you that are playing along at home, you are at a significant advantage because you don't have to hit your buzzer. Just shout out the answer. If you beat us, give yourself a point. All right, Big T, I think we're ready. Let's do this.
Perfect. Hey, shout out to Papa. He did well again last week. He's now 2-2 on the year.
Papa redeeming himself.
Papa says take Georgia this week against Auburn.
Georgia laying the points, huh?
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Here we go. What 1949 science fiction book by George Orwell describes a dystopian world in the future? Jen.
Oh, that was close. War of the Worlds.
Close, we're giving it to the rookie.
War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds is incorrect.
Oh.
Frogger, was you next?
1984.
Or was it Andrew?
Andrew was next.
Andrew was next.
Andrew got it.
1984.
1984.
Nice.
Frogger, you didn't think I could pronounce that word, huh?
What, 1984?
No. Orwell.
Oh. There we go. 1984, Van Halen's best album.
Exactly. What's the name of the pig in the book Charlotte's Web?
Jen.
Ooh.
Jen.
Oh my gosh.
Frogger.
No. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I jumped too fast.
Come on. Channel it to you.
There's Charlotte is the spider. And then they put the sign up that one great pig.
Some pig.
One great pig.
And that pig's name was?
Oh, my 5th grade daughter is going to be mad at me that I don't know this.
Frogger.
All right, moving on. Frogger.
Is it Wilbur?
Wilbur is correct.
Oh, Wilbur.
In what movie does Robert De Niro say, "You talking to me"?
Frogger. Is it Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
Taxi Driver's correct.
There you go.
What decade was Jaws released?
Frogger.
The
1980s.
Jen.
Incorrect.
Jen.
She knew I was wrong before.
The 70s. And was it 1970? 95.
She's going for extra credit.
You are correct. I changed it to make it
You know
easier.
why?
Year to the decade.
Okay,
Why
that is
that?
literally one of my. It is my. I would say my second favorite movie of all time. So I have a little bit of an unfair advantage.
Roy Scheider's cutoff shorts should have been a hint to me.
Is your favorite Charlotte's Web?
No, it is now.
All right. The Princess and the Frog is set in what American city?
Frogger.
Frogger.
New Orleans.
Nala. That is correct. Call Me Ishmael is the first line of what classic
Frogger.
novel? Frogger.
Moby Dick.
Moby Dick is correct.
I giggle just because I love getting to say that on the air.
What Charles Dickens novel begins with the sentence, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times"?
Frogger.
Frogger.
A Tale of Two Cities. Don't waste my time.
Oh, okay.
Tale of Two Cities is correct.
Oh.
Where were the first Olympic Games held?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Greece?
More specific.
I missed that.
We'll go Greece or Athens. Athens, Greece.
Greece. That is correct.
Thank you.
There we go.
Who was the highest paid athlete in 2022?
Andrew.
Frogger.
Andrew.
Was it Cristiano Ronaldo?
Incorrect.
Frogger.
The other one?
I'm going. Yeah, you got to go with Messi then, right?
The other
Lionel
soccer
Messi?
guy.
Lionel Messi is correct.
Alrighty.
What NBA team plays its home games at Madison Square Garden?
Andrew.
Andrew.
The Knickerbockers.
The New York Knickerbockers.
There you go.
Actor Nicolas Cage is the nephew of what famous director?
Frogger.
Andrew.
Go big man.
I heard Frogger first.
No, Andrew was first.
Coppola.
Okay. Francis Ford Coppola. That's correct.
His first credit on Fast Times High was as Nick Coppola. Stoner number 3.
Correct. What country does the Jungle Book take place in?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Zaire.
Incorrect.
Andrew. Brazil.
Incorrect. Then you got anything?
Jen, Africa. We'll get there
It's
eventually.
actually
Right?
India.
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 Oh, that does make sense. I was going Iceland
Yep.
next.
Mowgli.
Who was the youngest Oscar winner of all time?
Andrew.
Ooh.
Andrew.
Tatum O'Neal.
Tatum O'Neal. What a good poll.
Hey,
Nice
yeah.
job, Andrew. What was the name of the high school in Greece?
Andrew.
Oh, I got it.
Rydell High.
Andrew.
Mm.
Right, Ella is correct.
Andrew ties it up.
In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, what keeps the three-headed dog asleep?
Come on.
Oh,
Sorry,
geez.
Another hair question. Gonna
Yeah,
get wrong.
Frogger. Garlic.
Frogger. I'm sorry?
Garlic.
No.
No, I mean, it would be
I
too
don't
easy to
know.
say a spell. I can't remember specifically. We give
It's
up.
music.
Music. Okay.
Music.
Meh.
Frogger, you remember that three-legged dog we had when we were kids? He was blind, deaf, three-legged,
Yeah.
no tail.
Lucky.
His name was Lucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The women in Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club meant to play what game?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's got to be Mahjong.
Mahjong is correct.
Yeah.
The Da Vinci Code opens with a murder in what famous museum?
Frogger.
Frogger.
The Louvre.
The Louvre is correct.
All right.
What was America's first national park?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Jellystone.
Yellowstone is correct. Where do U.S. vice presidents live?
Oh,
like
I
this
feel
is
like
a
we should
repeater.
know this. This
Oh,
is bad.
oh,
This is
it is a
repeater.
repeater. Frogger.
Frogger.
It's
Oh,
like
no, I know.
on
okay, yes.
the
Andrew.
naval base or
Ah.
something.
The U.S. Naval Observatory. You're
So,
correct.
in
It
a
was a
house.
repeater from about 4 weeks back,
In a
and I'm
house.
so disappointed it took you and Andrew that long to get
We don't actually listen to the show, Tony.
it. Which 3 states share a border with California?
Frogger.
Okay, so,
Frogger.
I was gonna say,
Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona.
That is correct.
Not
only if
Kansas.
we live
What
here.
state is known as the Badger State?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Wisconsin. Wisconsin?
Wisconsin's correct.
I believe it's Wisconsin.
What state has the longest freshwater shoreline?
Oh, Frogger.
Jeez.
Frogger.
This is a tricky one. I think it's Maryland.
Incorrect.
Nuts. Because it's got all the nooks and crannies.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew, Michigan.
Michigan's correct.
Freshwater. Freshwater. Good pull.
What U.S. state grows coffee beans?
Frogger.
Frogger.
California. We grow everything else.
Incorrect.
Nuts.
I don't know. We're just guessing. We've got 49 more to go.
Andrew, New Mexico.
Incorrect. Hawaii.
Okay. All right.
Forgot they were a state.
What country produces the most tea?
Frogger.
Frogger.
China.
China's correct. Who did the U.S. buy Florida from?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Remax. No, it was Spain.
We buy from Spain.
Yes, we buy from Spain.
What country gives students the longest summer holiday?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's got to be Norway.
You would think. No. And again, Jen, we're just guessing.
I was just going to guess. Yeah. Jen says France.
Incorrect.
Andrew, the
Andrew,
United
you got
States.
anything? It's not the United States. It's Italy.
It is Italy. Well, in fact, they just came off of summer break. Big T, we do have to wrap up the show. I did take another one. Jen, pretty respectable first showing. We'll give you a shot at the rematch next week.
Let me warm up to it. Yeah. I need more like trivia about Jaws and movies and things like that.
There we go. We do want to thank Engineer Jen, Engineer Andrew, Big T, our guest Cindy Williams, lead academic coach at iLEADonline, Jay Wagner, president and CEO of the SCV EDC, producer Sarah, and thank you for listening. Remember, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCDI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.